How about if you're service connected for chronic pain syndrome, which you can't be exactly. And then you have sleep apnea secondary to chronic pain syndrome. So I'll just start, and then you could talk about the real world stuff and where I go wrong. But just the VA did away with chronic pain syndrome in, I believe, in the DSM-5. It's the mental health whatever schedule. I think it was like 8 years ago. So chronic pain syndrome doesn't actually have a rating right now. So there's a couple ways to do it. One is a mental health rating for something called somatic symptom disorder. So mental health, right? Somatic symptom disorder. And then you hook sleep apnea to that. And then you could also get an analogous rating, like I have, a 60% rating for chronic fatigue syndrome. So since they didn't have chronic pain, they could rate you with something else. But let's just talk about the chronic pain syndrome, and there's caveats to this one. It's a wormhole.
They are chronic pain is another one of those that are bi-directional with your sleep, your mental health, everything else. But what if your chronic pain requires you to sleep on your back? And your back is your worst place to sleep, and now, contributing to your sleep apnea. What if, and again, sleep apnea can be just positional, where your back is your worst place to sleep, but let's suppose your chronic pain and your sleep are related, chronic pain, position you're sleeping in, causing some sort of sleep apnea issues. You're just going to have a lot of sleep trouble when you got chronic pain. So I think for me, I know it changes your sleep architecture as far as that goes, but that's not what we're really talking about because we're talking about the sleep apnea component of it. I'm going to go for maybe position you're sleeping in.
There are two times when you don't need a nexus: when you file a claim while you're still on active duty, like a BDD claim, or when you're in the 1 year presumptive period. Any other time, you need a nexus. You also need a strategy. Check out my boot camp and contact my med team if you need a nexus. That makes a lot of sense. Again, make sure that's documented and make sure your doctor describes that in the nexus. What's the relationship from thing one to thing two being the service connected thing one being sleep apnea in this case.
We do see people, we can see it in the brain waves that people who have chronic pain or in a lot of pain, we see a lot of alpha intrusion into their alpha waves. And I know it's like sleep tech speak, come into their brain activity. And so we can see different things in the sleep architecture of somebody's brain activity when they're sleeping. So, I know that's just brain activity, but
still objective medical evidence.
Absolutely. And a sleep study would diagnose it for sure.
Yeah, but I think, well, I don't know because I don't do sleep studies. You do, but like the main goal, I don't know if you're going in to diagnose the sleep apnea and prescribe a breathing device if you need it or whatever, and you're not necessarily picking up the other 5 things that are also, like teasing out the brain interferences and actually, pinning that on chronic pain. Right.
Well, how about the people with like back pain, chronic back pain?
Yep.
They find it easier, I think, to sleep on their back than it does to like curl up and sleep on your side. Or shoulder pain. You can't sleep on your side because you have shoulder pain for some reason. So now you're sleeping on your back.
This is a better way to bring it back home. So instead of chronic pain syndrome, just chronic pain, period. So if you're service connected for your back at 20% or higher, you're in a ton of pain. If you have a 20% orthopedic rating at all, you're in a ton of pain. So yeah, that's probably a better way to do it. If you're service connected for something causing you pain and it causes sleep apnea, that would be a good way to do that.
Sure. Any of those, anything when you think about sleeping on your side, your hip pain, your shoulder pain, you could have feet pain.
Anything, feet pain, hand pain, hand numbness, ridiculous.
Neck pain. Some of that, I've had patients who either have to sleep on their back or maybe have to sleep in a recliner, like different ways to get comfortable. When you have this chronic pain, you're not ever getting comfortable. So it all contributes to decreased sleep, whether it contributes to that sleep apnea as well. So
makes sense. Cool. Absolutely. Well, let's put a pin in this one. Come back, and I definitely want to talk more about the PTSD one, and come back with more examples of things that you can hook a sleep apnea claim onto.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.